Welcome to the deep dive. So today you've handed us quite a fascinating document, 50 sex tips for him and her.
Hmm.
Think of this as, well, your personal shortcut to some rather intimate insights. Our mission here,
Yeah,
to navigate this collection, pull out the key themes, the actionable ideas, all while keeping it engaging and maybe even a little surprising.
sounds good.
We'll be exploring everything from, let's say, spicing things up to communication, just aiming to give you a distilled look at what really stands out.
It's quite the compilation, isn't it? This PDF, it's neatly organized, it gives perspectives for both partners, and it covers a huge range of topics.
That really does.
We're talking techniques, yes, but also the psychological side of intimacy, both in relationships and, individual exploration too. It's a broad spectrum.
Absolutely. And right away, one thing just jumps out.
Yeah.
This document is practically like waving a red flag at routine.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It strongly advises against falling into those predictable patterns.
Mm.
And the example they use, it's pretty stark. 15 minutes of sweeties, followed by 15 minutes of shagging on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 11 p.m.
Right. Uh-huh.
Can you imagine anything less likely to spark passion?
That example really hits home, doesn't it? It highlights this core tension, in long-term intimacy. We want comfort, predictability maybe, but we also need novelty, excitement.
Exactly.
So while routine feels safe, it's often the unexpected stuff that really reignites that spark. And what's interesting here is the direct call to improvisation. There's even a whole section that just says, hooray for improvising,
Yeah.
encouraging spontaneity, unexpected places, like that very special tasting session in the kitchen idea. It's all about breaking free from the script, really.
Exactly. Keeping things fresh.
Yeah.
That seems like a major takeaway. Okay, let's shift gears to something a bit more, well, hands-on. Exploring different positions.
Mm-hmm.
The advice for her is quite detailed. Take sex when pregnant, for instance. It's not just a brief mention. It actually lays out several options.
Right, to accommodate the changes.
Yeah, like doggy style apparently offers a feeling of weightlessness.
Mm-hmm.
Spoons, using a chair, and then this inverted andromoch. We'll probably come back to that term.
Yeah, it pops up again.
But it's all presented as ways to navigate intimacy during pregnancy. It's about adapting, isn't it?
Precisely. It acknowledges intimacy isn't static. It evolves with our bodies, our circumstances. Including these positions for pregnancy isn't just physical comfort. It kind of reframes intimacy as something to explore, even with the craziness of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have positions like being master in the lotus art, woman on top, lotus position. What's interesting here is the emphasis on deep body contact and the woman taking an active role.
Right, controlling the movement.
Exactly. Controlling pace, depth, really putting her in charge through a unique range of motion.
And then there's being a master of the andromoch art, described as the inverted missionary. Again, woman on top, facing her partner. The focus is on her control,
Mm-hmm. Angle, rhythm.
how deep it goes. It even suggests these little plus circular hip movements can practically guarantee orgasm. It really puts the woman in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. Now, if we look at the advice for him, that inverted andromoch shows up again, but from his viewpoint.
Okay.
Here, she's riding facing away, leaning on his knees. This gives him what it calls an exceptional view and lets him guide her movements by holding her hips. It's a different dynamic.
I see.
And then we get these rather athletic-sounding carried positions for muscular lovers.
Yeah.
Imagine literally carrying your partner during intercourse, lifting by the buttocks, or leg over the shoulder for deeper penetration, and these delicious brushings. Definitely sounds like it needs some strength.
A workout and intimacy rolled into one. And, the document even considers different body types. For women with a partner who is built like a donkey, their words.
Right, it's not ours.
The advice is focus on extended foreplay. Stick with missionary. Apparently doggy isn't recommended here. And let time work its magic.
For accommodation.
Yeah. And conversely, for smaller partners with a larger penis, similar advice. Prioritize preliminaries. Let things progress naturally. It's interesting how it directly addresses these very personal physical things.
It really underscores that point.
Yeah.
Sex isn't one size fits all. Physical differences matter. And it's about navigating them with sensitivity, focusing on mutual enjoyment. Okay, moving from the purely physical, let's get into fantasy and playfulness.
Oh, yes. This is where it gets creative.
Right.
The idea of making love with a stranger is presented almost like an unreachable fantasy, but it highlights that allure, spontaneous, anonymous encounter, excitement of pure passion without the relationship context.
That primal desire.
Exactly. But the follow-up advice is interesting. Don't break the charm by exchanging names or numbers. Just consume, taste, and go on your way. It's all about the fantasy, untainted.
What's fascinating there is the almost theatrical element. Playing a role briefly. Then you have making love with a younger man and the whole cougars concept. This section encourages embracing that dynamic without complexes. Suggests the younger partner's freshness is invigorating, while the experienced partner's knowledge is a draw. Key advice. No lecture.
Just guide him.
Yeah, guide him. Enjoy the fresh body offering. It's about playing with those power dynamics, challenging norms around age.
Definitely flipping expectations.
No.
And speaking of power dynamics, let's talk bondage.
Okay.
This section dives right in. Describes it as a delicious torture being tied up or tying up a lover. Lists things like cords, satin links, latex, corsets, whips, even chastity belts as part of this fetishist set. It's quite explicit about hindering freedom to heighten pleasure. And of course, it's vital to remember this relies entirely on enthusiastic consent and clear communication.
Absolutely. The text frames it within consent to be tied up for better love. The language, delicious torture, sexual slave, clearly indicates a specific type of power exchange play. Boundaries are crucial.
It's crucial.
Now, shifting to something maybe a bit lighter, it is allowed to play with food.
Right.
And it gets quite evocative. Pouring champagne over a body, savoring every drop, lists fruit, whipped cream, honey, edible strings, options for devouring a partner.
That tip about sharing a treat during a kiss, I like that.
Yeah.
Really brings in the senses.
Yeah, it highlights how sensual and sexual pleasure can be so intertwined. Using everyday food playfully, intimately, it can heighten arousal.
An edible string during a kiss. Memorable image. Then there's erotic readings, guides, novels. Kama Sutra is a way to spark curiosity, add spice. Reading them together before intimacy could be a fantastic way to set the mood, explore ideas as a couple.
That collaborative element, exploring erotic stuff together, can be incredibly powerful. Opens up conversations about desires, fantasies maybe wouldn't come up otherwise. Similarly, it mentions erotic board games.
Like strip poker.
Yeah, Love Bath, Pleasure Path, Vices and Delights, other game accessories to inject fun and novelty. It's all about making it playful.
Exactly. And then, blindly, using a scarf to heighten other senses.
Oh, right.
Suggests gently arousing all senses, sounds, smells, tastes, skin on skin, turning the body into a playground. The tip: have the blindfolded partner guess which body part is doing the touching.
That's interesting. It intensifies touch, takes away the visual dominance we often rely on.
Removing one sense can amplify others, leading to a different kind of awareness, intimacy. Okay, let's move to a truly crucial aspect. Communication and openness.
Absolutely vital. One of the first tips here is give his sex a nickname.
Right. The reasoning is to soften the clinical aspect, maybe.
Right.
Or just affection. But there's a clear warning against humiliation.
Could really vex him.
Yeah. And the advice is specific. Offer him the chance to choose the nickname for his own parts. No reciprocal choice offered.
That's an interesting detail.
It highlights potential vulnerability, the importance of respect, even in lighthearted stuff. Giving him control seems like a way to keep it positive.
That's a really insightful nuance. Acknowledges sensitivities. Even playful things can backfire without consideration. Then there's warning a partner before orgasm, not warning her that you are going to enjoy. Points that the surprise could lead to a cough, choke, even a bite. And also, taste isn't universally loved. The advice is blunt. Be a gentleman to avoid being banned from fellatios forever.
Gets the point across about awareness, consideration for your partner's experience, even in the heat of the moment.
It does indeed. Similarly, the section on groaning with pleasure and animal cries encourages expressing enjoyment, helps the partner feel appreciated, helps them let go too.
But with a caution.
Exactly. A word of caution against excessive or off-putting sounds. Distinguishes between virile groans and like an ox's bellowing or shrill yelpings.
Finding that balance. Sounds that enhance, not detract.
Right. Communicating through sound, but being mindful. Then the often asked question, did you enjoy it, darling?
Yes.
The text notes some women find it hard to express enjoyment openly, so instead of asking directly, the suggestion is offer more intimacy, specifically cunnilingus, as a gauge.
Oh, interesting.
If she declines, saying she's content, that's your answer. It's indirect, but acknowledges different communication styles.
Now, what about when a partner does no longer want to make love? The advice here is crucial. Don't make them feel guilty.
Important.
Instead, focus on reigniting the connection. Romantic gestures, Small attentions, outings, strengthening the overall bond.
Hmm.
The idea is if that complicity is rebuilt, desire will follow naturally.
That's a very empathetic, constructive view. Desire ebbs and flows, emphasizes the emotional connection as the basis for sexual intimacy.
And what if you're the one not in the mood? The text offers saying no in 4 lessons, gives a range of options.
Like what?
Direct communication, the maybe slightly cliche pretending a headache, it admits this. Diverting attention or opting for light intimacy. Caresses, kisses, touching as a compromise.
It's interesting it validates different ways to set boundaries while also suggesting ways to maintain some connection even when intercourse isn't wanted.
It is. Acknowledges saying no can be tricky, offers practical strategies. Okay, let's venture beyond traditional intercourse now. Explore some other avenues for pleasure in this document.
This is where it really broadens out. It dedicates a whole section to masturbation. 6 ways of reaching self-satisfaction, lists quite a variety.
Like,
Classical approach on the back, exciting on the belly, original with a soft object, sports type without hands, precise with water jets, and efficient simultaneous clitoral and vaginal stim. It's surprisingly comprehensive for solo pleasure.
normalizes and encourages self-exploration. Healthy, natural aspect of sexuality.
Definitely. Then, shifting to partnered play, it discusses a dildo for her, but with an interesting angle for the male partner.
How so?
It emphasizes his role in controlling tempo, angle, depth. Positions him as orchestrator of her pleasure with the toy.
So it reframes it.
Yeah.
Not just for enjoyment, but his active participation, control, a different dynamic to explore.
Exactly. How he can actively contribute to her pleasure non-penetratively. Potentially new sensations, shared experiences. Similarly, it introduces the penis lengthener, a silicone extension,
Right.
and its supposed benefits, adding length, girth, potentially leading to a more powerful erection, increased partner satisfaction. It's intriguing. It presents this as a solution for perceived inadequacy or desire to please a partner better, highlights anxieties around size.
It is. Taps into real insecurities, offers a potential fix, according to the document anyway. Okay, let's get a bit more adventurous. Test love in the water.
But with practical points.
Yeah. Bathtubs are cramped. Sea has saltwater irritation. Private pools, ideal. Jacuzzis recommended, especially with the heat. Fun idea, maybe needs planning.
Absolutely. Practicalities matter, but the message is novelty through changing environment. Same applies to love on the backseat of the car.
Advice is practical. Riding positions better than lying down due to space. Cover the windows if you can. Appeals to spontaneity, maybe a bit of rebelliousness.
A bit of a thrill, and then in the shower. Recommendation. Face a wall for stability. Enjoy the jets. Warm water. Briefly mentions the Amazon position in a tub to avoid overflows.
It's all about adapting familiar spaces, finding what works within constraints, takes ordinary settings, suggests ways to incorporate sex, focusing on pleasure and logistics. Okay, let's delve into a topic that might raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Swallow without fainting.
Ah.
The advice is direct for him. Adjust diet, avoid garlic, asparagus, alcohol, cigarettes, or her. Tips like whipped cream or mint spray to make it more palatable. Very direct approach.
It certainly doesn't shy away from the less conventionally romantic bits, does it? Addressing a specific act, offering practical tips for those interested. And then the classic, hickeys, bites. Advice is a strong warning. Be gentle. Avoid pain or social embarrassment. Too much enthusiasm could mean a night on the sofa or a week hiding marks. Good reminder, even passionate acts need consideration for comfort, real-world consequences, that balance between passion and mindfulness. Okay, let's consider visuals and technology.
Right. The document suggests film your lovemaking, but don't do just anything.
Yeah.
Advises on angles, lighting, flattering positions as a spicy gift.
A big bite.
A very serious warning. Keep the video absolutely private. Avoid it coming out in the open one day. Crucial point in the digital age.
It really is. Filming can be intimate, a shared experience, but privacy breaches are a huge concern, needs to be taken extremely seriously. Then it addresses X films, suggests it is better to share with your partner.
Okay.
Proposes watching porn together can be stimulating, exciting, inspire role-playing, new positions. Also advises starting gentler if concerned about intensity. Interesting how it frames shared porn use as a way to connect, explore desires together.
Reframes it from solitary to shared sparking conversation ideas. And finally here it mentions fun in front of a mirror, a new game accessory. Highlights standing doggy position, allowing mutual visual enjoyment, potentially increasing carnal pleasure. That focus on visual feedback, shared observation, adds another dimension for some couples.
It's about being more visually aware. Interesting angle. Okay, let's move into challenging some common assumptions about sex and pleasure.
Good point. One key idea: no orgasm, no pleasure. The document argues strongly against this,
Right.
asserts it's entirely possible to experience tons of pleasure without enjoyment, meaning without orgasm. Advises against fixating only on the big final. Instead, let go. Experience the caresses, sensations, emotions of the moment.
That's a really important message. Takes pressure off orgasm as the only measure of satisfaction. Validates the whole experience, the many ways pleasure is felt.
Absolutely. Focus on the journey. Similarly, it touches on simultaneous orgasms. How can you do that?
Hmm.
Admits it's not always easy. Different rhythms. The tip is practical. The partner who climaxes sooner can do so, then continue foreplay to let them recover, potentially reach a second orgasm together. Strategic approach to an elusive goal.
It is a practical way to navigate different arousal patterns. And finally here, it briefly mentions tantrism, potential for new pleasures, but cautions it needs skill, sometimes initiation. Suggests workshops might be a good start.
Acknowledging it's a deeper practice, more than just physical techniques. Okay, let's consider some specific scenarios. First time, what to do. Advice for her.
Like,
Communicate it's her first time. Emphasize extended foreplay for arousal. Guide his penis, it has no searching head apparently. And stick to simpler positions, like missionary. Focuses on comfort, positivity, minimizing anxiety.
that guidance prioritizes gentleness, communication, security for a vulnerable experience. Then it addresses, I am too well built, having a large penis,
Right.
advice. Longer foreplay, ensure partner is fully relaxed, vaginal muscles open, suggest erotic massages to prevent tension. Interesting how it reframes a possibly desirable trait into something needing extra care for mutual comfort.
It does. More isn't always better. Consideration is key. Following that, too long a penis, beware. Suggests it could hit the bottom, cause discomfort.
Practical tip.
Use a foam or silicone ring at the base as a buffer, even during passion. Again, practical solution for a physical challenge, enhancing comfort.
Exactly, focusing on solutions. Then, briefly, a first gay experience advises curiosity. Start gentle with preliminaries before exploring more. Emphasizes gradual exploratory approach, building comfort.
Respecting the newness, allowing discovery. Finally here, threesome sex. In which trio, though,
That's right.
outlines two main options.
Okay.
A partner of each sex for soft pleasures of bisexual life, or two women as the supreme male fantasy, offering two partners no boredom risk. Presents these with a particular viewpoint.
Interesting how it frames the configurations, perceived dynamics, motivations, reflects certain common fantasies. Okay, let's bring this deep dive to a close by looking at something fundamental, the art of kissing.
Ah, yes, the divine kiss in 3 lessons. First, for shyness.
Mhm.
Gentle, sensual kiss. Second, if lips closed. Small, soft, attentive kisses all over. Third, more passion. Genuine French kiss. Clever tongue play. A mini masterclass.
It really is. Shows how even a kiss can be nuanced, expressive, different levels of intimacy, passion.
Tentative affection to deep connection.
Well, we have certainly covered a vast amount of ground today, from practical positions to playfulness, and maybe most importantly, open, honest communication.
Yeah?
The overarching theme seems to be embracing curiosity, venturing beyond comfort zones, prioritizing individual and shared pleasure in all its diverse forms.
Absolutely. A strong reminder, intimacy is rich, multifaceted, thrives on exploration, communication, willingness to connect physically and emotionally. So, considering this sheer volume of suggestions and the constant emphasis on breaking routine, embracing novelty, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Mm.
In our increasingly scheduled, optimized lives, maybe the most radical act is just embracing uninhibited, spontaneous intimacy,
Yeah.
free from checklists, preconceived notions.
Just letting go.
Yeah. What unexpected joys might we find by truly letting go of expectations? Just being present with a partner or even ourselves in those intimate moments. That's certainly something to ponder. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.